Redfin to lay off 450 employees. You know, it's funny how everybody loves Redfin and Zillow, and they just keep screwing people over. Uh, it, uh, the thing is, it's a big business, right? When you get a big business, you go public. And when you're public, you owe a fiduciary duty to your stakeholders and stockholders, i.e., the CEO, C-level executives, and everybody that owns stock in a public company. That's what sucks about this stuff, right? And, my company that I hold my broker's license under is a publicly held company. They don't, they're not a huge mover and shaker. That's why I went with them, because they're not about the stock market. I'm sure they are in certain points, but they don't lay off 450 people. And here's the thing. This isn't about the sales part. This is about the rental part, right? And this is for rental apartments, not the mom and pops. So 450 people work towards building relationships and selling advertising and sponsorships or what have placement for their apartments. These are 400, 500, 600,000 unit apartments all across the United States. That's what these people do. Instead of fighting Zillow, they joined Zillow. So it looks like Redfin is going to get merged eventually with Zillow, which, that's whatever. I don't care about that. But when that happens, there's efficiencies that happen. And that means people get laid off. It's like, when we had in our district here, in our school district, they closed 3 schools. And my question was, why are they closing 3 schools? Because they're not being competitive to the outside sources. When the outside competition, which was private schools, was just knocking boots out of these people, out of the public school system, they turned inward instead of outward. How can we make our services better? How can we produce a better product, i.e. smarter children or more productive children or children that are better ready or better suited to go into college and become productive human beings? They turned inward and said, we're not making enough money, so we have to close schools. Shame on them. And then somebody said I should run for supervisor or superintendent or whatever. And I said, I would never make it, because my platform would be to merge all the districts and create efficiencies, just like what Redfin and Zillow are doing. I would have one superintendent. I would merge 10 or 15 school districts within Santa Clara County education system and chop heads. There's a lot of redundancy that happens over and over and over again. Plus, you get bargaining power when you have not just 10 schools, but maybe 100 schools or even 75 schools. I can go to the food people and the book people and the paper people and say, hey, we're buying a whole lot more from you. You need to give us better pricing and run it a little bit more efficiently. That's what Redfin and Zillow are doing. They're just saying, hey, instead of fighting what's out there, how do we spend money to make it more efficient for our clients, which is rent.com and apartment.com, those people that are buying ads and sponsorships and placements for their system. It hurts the people. Overall, it helps the stakeholders and stockholders, right? And going back to the school district thing, it would hurt people. But there's a lot of redundancy and inefficiency in our public school systems all across the nation. And the reason why I never ran is because I knew it would just be a waste of time and effort, because I just would never have gotten voted into that. But I also didn't want to do the whole political thing. So shame on Redfin for laying off their people, not finding places for them, because there's tons of places for them. This is such a big, huge, overly efficient inefficient company that they could have done something a little bit better than just lay them off. That's my thoughts, my 2 cents. Tell me I'm wrong. Proposition 19 fact sheet. This has been around since 2021. before it was Proposition 60 and 90. Proposition 60 allowed you to transfer your tax base within anywhere in your county, as long as it was within 105% of the home value. The idea was you could take your tax base and move it over to another house. If you're an empty nester, because this is like 55 and over, right? This is for 55 and over, but it also includes permanently disabled people and now fire victims or victims of any kind of natural disaster. So the good thing, and then Proposition 90 was one of 11, then 10 state counties within California, which was like Humboldt and Sacramento. Anyway, that doesn't matter because we voted that out. We voted Proposition 19 in. And the good thing is it allows you to do it 3 times, which is the selling point of this. The bad thing is, because you can only do it once with Proposition 60 and 90. The good thing is you can do it 3 times. Now you can do it with your child. Let's say that I sell my house. Well, you can do, yeah. You can do, I could sell my house to my children and let them keep the tax base of this house. This house is worth anywhere between 1.7 and $2 million. I'm not arguing that, but we're going to keep it at 1.7 just because I bought it at 700. So I have $1 million of equity or tax base as well that I get to enjoy. Proposition 13 increases my home value 2% max every year instead of what the market is, which is up and down, and sometimes 8, sometimes 15%. So it's Proposition 13 is huge, and we should never get rid of that. We're the only state in the union that actually offers something like that. They do have stuff like Homestead in Texas, where once you turn 55, you stop accruing more tax value to help people in there. And I think something like that in Florida as well. And other states have other things, but nothing to where it's just 2% increase maximum every year for whatever residence. And it doesn't matter if it's residential or industrial or commercial, it's all the same thing. And a few years back, they tried to get rid of it, and we voted that down, and we should continue to vote that down. Okay, so if you want to do it with your children, you can do it with your children. If you want to do it with your grandchildren, you can do it with your grandchildren. Or if you're like, hey, Grandpa, I really love your house. When you die, I want to take over your house. The caveat is you have to take up residency in that house, right? That's the caveat. You have to take up residency. So if it's a 2-bedroom cottage that's falling over and you want to take advantage of that tax basis and still live in Santa Clara County or wherever you are in California, you have to take up residency. You have to live in that house. So just be careful of that. That's one of the caveats. Here's the little math to it and how it works. And here is some seniors. These are the not the exclusions, but the rules, how you to do it. And then disaster victims. And then here it says right here, here's the thing. If the replacement property is purchased after the original, depending on the time period when the replacement was purchased, the amount of 5% or 10% over the original property's market value is added to the transfer base year value. So the original, let's say you bought a house for 300,000, good for you. Now it's worth 600,000. The market replacement value is 700. So you can actually move that over. So what happens if you buy a $2 million property? Well, then you're paying taxes on that 700 value back to your original tax amount, but then the delta, which is 1.3 million, you're paying taxes on. So it's fair and equitable, and it's helpful to everybody. And California still gets a little bit more when you buy a bigger property. So this is not tax advice. I'm not a tax advisor. I'm not certified or whatever to prepare taxes or give you tax advice. What I would suggest you do is call your local tax assessor and ask them how your scenario works out. Make sure you understand that. I am not a tax advisor. Don't say, well, Vito said, because this is just me walking you through this fact sheet to produce more questions so you can go to your tax advisor and the tax assessor and ask them questions before you decide to move and use Proposition 19. It's important that you understand every aspect of it because it's a huge, powerful law that we did enact to help protect us and our equity and the money that we're spending here in California. So if you're going to do it, make sure you talk to your local tax assessor. And if you're moving to another tax or another county, make sure you call that tax assessor and say, this is my scenario. How does this work? I plan on buying an X amount of house, and this is what I'm doing. My house is worth this, and this is what I bought it for, and and they'll help you understand. They're not going to give you the exact. They're going to say you're going to have to fill out this form and figure it out, but this is where it is. So ask the questions. Don't rely on Vito. Don't rely on a sales guy. Don't rely on anything except for from the horse's mouth, which is your tax advisor and a tax assessor. Done. This is why you need to have professional photos, guys. I took a picture of this because this is ridiculous. You don't, I mean, this is Google. Oh no, this is even on Redfin. They took a picture of Redfin and put it on the MLS. I have no idea what the hell they're doing here. But this is a house that's listed in Santa Clara County, and they took not a screenshot, they took a shot with their phone on their computer and then put it, I mean, and then they didn't even clean the monitor before. You can see little smudge marks where he sneezed or coughed and coughed up coffee. And then your next picture is of a hallway. This guy blatantly doesn't understand how to take pictures. He's just writing it in. So congratulations on the listing, Mr. Galahad Court. Not my listing, obviously. This thing should have sold. And maybe it's the reason why it hasn't sold is because of the pictures. I mean, that's your front picture. That's your first picture that you see, and you're like, what in the actual TF? Yeah. 4-bedroom, 2-bath. This thing should have sold for 1.1, 1.2. It's in Capital, what is it called? Capital Goss neighborhood. And pictures are cheap. If you're going to do it on your own, you should have taken 20 or 30, but no, you only took 6. And of those 6, the first one you're putting is a screen, a picture of a screen. Okay, enough said. Bank-owned property of the week is in Hollister. This one's been on market for 81 days. $771,000. There's 26 pictures. And the cool thing about this is cool and not so cool, right? I've sold houses over here and over here and over here. And this place is actually Promise Way. So I sold right here, and then this one backs into a field. Eventually that's going to get developed. But for the meantime, you have, a nice backyard. And there was another bank-owned property here earlier. Maybe this was it. And they finally cleared it out and cleaned it up and repainted everything. But it's a nice house. If you're thinking about Hollister, this is a nice house, even though some of it's boarded up. Yeah, you can pick this thing up for maybe $700,000. There you go. Okay. Apple Campus, homes near Apple of the week. This is not my listing. Lac Navarre Avenue, $2.3 million, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square feet, built in 1958. And it is walking distance to Apple, the spaceship. Okay, we don't need 15 pictures of the front of the house. You only need one, guys. Pick the one. The photographer is giving you choices, right? You don't need to do the box brownie background and highlight and all that. You didn't even get this one light lit. And they're 2 different lights, it looks like. No, that one's on. Okay, back to album. You don't need to have 15 pictures of the front of the house. You just need one. And then you can put them in the back, put them in the bottom of the pile, right? And then you get nicely staged. It's all pretty and all that. You only need one picture of the front, maybe of the door, if it's really pretty door. I showed a house yesterday, and they have the exact same door we have with the exact same latch and key thing. And it's oil rubbed bronze, and over the years it's rubbed off, so it's dark brown, and then right where the thumb mark is, you can see the rubbing off. It's the same thing as that one, so kind of fun to think about. And they use the same rock trim that I have too, so they have good taste. Here's the thing, right? This is called Box Brownie, boxbrownie.com. And what they do is they overlay and put a funny background and make your house look lit up. You can just take this picture and say, set that one up, get rid of these power lines, and make it look pretty. And that's exactly what they did. That is the exact same picture as that. That is the exact same picture as that. They just do some kind of fancy stuff. They have some people that put the overlay in, and some people hate it, some people don't. But again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pictures of the front of the house before you actually get into the house. And nobody cares. Get one picture. And then, yeah, you can tell I'm feeling a little ornery. And then spend the time, especially if you're at over $2 million, spend the time to get a floor plan. Pictures are great, but this is the digital age, guys. Get a floor plan. It doesn't cost that much. It just, shame on you. Mountain View Home of the Week, Lloyd Way, not my listing. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,700 square feet. Looks like a cottage, not very much exciting stuff in there. And then built in 1953. And it is not really walking distance to Castro Street. You could, but by the time you get home, your buzz would wear off. So you could probably just drive there. Nice 2 pictures. Beyond me why you're doing this. One day on market, maybe they have photography coming in. Okay. And then yesterday I looked at this saying, oh my God, I didn't change it. I didn't change it because I was talking about this. So yesterday's highs and lows, 5.7 million and $635,000. Today we're looking at 40 days on market. We're up just a tad bit. I think what people are doing is saying, I'm being picky about what I'm buying. Now, I put a house into market. It took like 7 days. I had offers like the 3rd day, 2nd day, but I slow played it a little bit, built up the buzz, negotiated, and we went way over. And we did some concessions where, yeah, it was pretty awesome. I'll tell you more about it once it's closed. But if your house is dialed in and marketed right and negotiated right, you're going to get a much better deal than if you overprice it. And I'll leave it at that. All right. So our inventory is climbing just a tad bit, but we're nowhere near where we need to be. And days on market are climbing just a tad bit, and REOs are kind of boring right now. So there you go. Not a lot of volume, but there's not a lot of options. And then same thing here, 130 out of 809. This should be 2,000, close to 2,000 in order for it to be a good value. All right, that's it. I'm Vito with Abitano. I'm going to the gym because my girls are taking the week off. They have President's Day week or winter week off. So my schedule's all jacked up. I'll be at the gym if you want to say hi. We'll see you out there.